Hello everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks to the amazing man Hamada, he's in Dubai, I'm in New York.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you again. I hope that you're doing very well and you're ready for today. Today is the very first day of the OISPEC competition, and as you all know, the topic of our competition is the shale gas exploration potential and the future impact. First of all, I would love to welcome our judges, Mr. Kamal Ben Askar from the AVAC Energy Solutions, Mr. Brahim Ben Bili from Montreal Stemstakes Canada, and Mr. Khalid Ben Zawi from the Saudi Oil Company. I just want to say a quick reminder, every single team has 10 minutes for their presentation, and after that there is 3 to 5 minutes Q&A time. The judges will ask you some questions about your presentation, and any member of the team can answer it. It's not necessarily the team leader. Best of luck to all our teams. Before we get started, I just want to ask you, dear participants, to write down your team leader's name because we need it in order to give him or her the access to share his or her screen. Now we're gonna start with the first team. So the team 1 members are Lutfi Mishri, Marwan Sbaihi, Yusuf Ben Dahba, and Suad Nusdat. All the best to you guys. It's your time. You can go ahead and start your presentation after sharing your screen. Team 1, we believe that your members are here, so please, we're waiting for you to share your screen with us in order to start your presentation.
Marwan has the presentation, so. Hello, everyone. So, hello, everyone. Sahaftulkum. I would to thank the OISPEC organization for this great opportunity, and the great thanks for Mr. Kamal Ben Bili and Mr. Ibrahim Ben Bili, excuse me, and Mr. Kamal Mansour and Mr. Khalid Ben Zawi for this great opportunity. So I am Lotfi Mishri, and I would to present to you today my project, small project, about shale gas, me and my friend Marwan. So let's begin with general about the shale gas. Next slides, please. So what is the shale gas? Gas shale are formation of organic rich shale, a sedimentary rock formed from deposit of mud, silt, and clay, and organic matter. In the past, these have been regarded merely as relatively impermeable source rock and seal for gas the migrant to other deposits such as the permeable sandstone and carbonate reservoir that are the target of conventional commercial gas production. With advance in drilling and well stimulation technology organically developed for conventional production. However, unconventional production of gas from these less permeable shale formation can be achieved. The difference between shale gas and natural gas is the natural gas is trapped in porous and permeable rocks, and the other is trapped in the source rock, which is not non-porous, non-permeable. So shale gas production procedure. As noted above, horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing are the two technologies that, in combination with one another, deliver the potential to unlock tighter shale gas formation. The drilling phase vertical drilling depth will vary based on the target formation and location, and typically wells will be drilled vertically through rocks layer and aquifer until we reach the KOP. Then directional horizontal drilling allow the well to penetrate along the hydrocarbon breaking rock seams, which may be less than 90 meters thick in most major shale plays. The requirement to use horizontal drilling also result in difference in the distribution of well above the target formation, and the process involved in shale production have developed over time to increase efficiency of operation. As shown in the table below, the earliest experiment with shale gas in the early 20th century, the modern process has developed into one typified by the clustering of several wells on multi-well pads, horizontal well from each well, and multi-stage slick water fracturing. So next slide, please. So pre-production hydraulic fracturing phase. Before this one, we need to make a perforation. The perforation is the first after we make the hydraulic fracturation. As has already been disturbed, hydraulic fracturing consists of pumping a fluid and propping agent, which is called proppant, such as sent down the wellbore under high pressure to create fracture in the hydrocarbon breaking rocks. This fracture starts at the injection well and extend as much as few hundred meters into the reservoir rocks. The proppant holds the fracture open, allowing the hydrocarbon to flow into the wellbore after injection fluid, flow back water are recovered, and so the surface figure below show the well side during hydraulic fracturation. So next slide, please. We have this photo mentioned all the equipment we needed when hydraulic fracturation operation. We need all this. So next please. The fracturing fluid. The composition of the fracturing fluid varies from one product to another, and the design of the fluid varies depending on the characteristic of the target formation and the operation objective. However, the fracturation fluid used in the modern slick water fracturing is typically composite of around 99.5% water and sand as proppant, with chemical additive compromising 0.5 as it's shown on the diagram. Like I say, all 99.55, it's all water and proppant, and the rest is just additive. So, however, we list the new risk. The next slide, please. However, we list the new risk associated with the hydraulic fracturation of well may be the subject of debate. Is it a risk or no? And impact are not the only potential drawback of shale exploration, particularly when considering relatively high populated countries like USA and UK, United Kingdom. The issue of hydraulic fracturation and environmental and human health risk is then under the spotlight in the worldwide. In the meaning, however, there is a paucity of information and data on which to base quantify assessment of environment. They said pollution impact from shale gas development are closely connected with the hydraulic fracturation process. The fracturing fluid, chemical use, transformation product, and subsurface contaminate that are mobilized during the process until the flow back, but we said no. It's not connected at all because the result is almost 1,000 meters to 1,500 meters between frag zone and the aquifer, like it mentioned on the figure below. Like it's showing here, we have the all frag zone and the drinking water aquifer. It's too much far from the reservoir. Next, please. So environment impact. Water. Firstly, we're gonna start with water. Accidentally surface releasing of fracturing chemical and wastewater, and change is in hydrology and water infiltration caused by new infrastructure may affect shallow groundwater and surface water resource. A risk to potable groundwater exists from the upward migration of natural gas and saline water from leaky well casing, and possibly also natural fracture into the rock, out abundant well and permeable faults. The pathway may allow the migration of gases and possibly saline fluid over long time scale, with potentially substantial cumulative impact on aquifer water quality. Next, yes. Flowback water. The flowback water that return to the surface in hydraulic fracturation operation contain not only the chemical additive that were mixed into the fracturing fluids, but also formation water that may be high in dissolved solid, as this dissolved solid are primarily salt. A flowback water leak or spill can increase the salinity of the receiving environment. That's why it's obligate to use a thick liner membrane to isolate flowback water from the ground. The main potential cause of groundwater contamination is accepted to be from upward gas migration along the well casing or in combination with natural fracture causing entry of gas over extended time in freshwater aquifer or into the atmosphere in aquifer. The gas may be assimilated by natural geochemical process. Okay, I continue. Greenhouse gas emission. To the extent the natural gas extracted from shale replace oil and coal in energy use, particularly in electricity generation, it may reduce the environmental impact of fossil fuel and help to slow anthropogenic climate change. Whether shale gas developed will actually reduce the greenhouse gas emission. and slow climate change will depend on several variables, including which energy source it displaces, coal and oil versus nuclear and renewable, and the volume of methane emission from gas leakage at the wellhead and in the distribution system. Experts disagree about this matter. Some conclude that downstream greenhouse gases benefit may be offset by upstream leakage, as well as the risk that gas interact the market for lower carbon alternative and foster lock into the high carbon infrastructure. Others argue that shale gas could provide a bridge to a low carbon future. Furthermore, fields that produce gas with high carbon dioxide content, such as Horn River, could become an important additional source of carbon dioxide emission unless the carbon dioxide is captured and used for enhanced oil recovery or is sequentially in a sound aquifer. Next slide, please. So other impacts, land. So large scale.
Please, team number one, the time is over now. Thank you so much for your presentation. Now we'll move to the Q&A part. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kamal, Mr. Ibrahim, and Mr. Khaled, the mic is yours.
Hey, I'll start. First, thank you for this presentation. I have one question for you. One on your first slide or second slide, I don't remember. You said the shale gas is contained in non-porous, non-permeable rocks. How is it contained then? If the rock is non-permeable and non-porous, where is the gas located at, or the oil, whatever you're talking about?
So thank you, Mr. Kamal. We're gonna recover the shale gas by the hydraulic fracturation.
Yeah, but to recover it, it has to be in the rock first to start with. Do you understand the concept of porosity and permeability in a rock?
Yeah.
So if there's no porosity, there should be no gas, there should be nothing. It should be just plain rock. So be careful when you say it's a non-porous and non-permeable, that you're saying it's a pure rock.
Yeah.
So you cannot recover gas from a pure rock.
Yeah.
And also, in the future, when you have a presentation, try not to read for the people that are listening to you. I would rather use your bullet points or tell us the message, the key messages you want to present to us. Okay. That's what I have, and I hope you you learn from this experience on your future presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Lotfi and the team for the presentation. I know that logistic is always a problem. I will add another advice. Run the presentation as one person. Don't give one flip in the slide. So it's better you flip the slide and take care of the presentation, because technology sometimes doesn't help you. Yeah? There is a lag between you and your colleague, but globally it's good. I have a couple questions. Perforation design. Is there any perforation design, or we just perforate everywhere?
No, there is a perforation design. It's called the multi-stage perforation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Globally, I mean, where you want to perforate? Every interval or specific rock, or where you want to perforate?
You means every 100 meters we make a perforation, after we make a plug perf and run another perf gun?
So that's what we call that's what is fixed interval perforation. Okay, there is other people, what they do, they try to perforate where they think the reservoir property are better, just to save on the cost of the perforation and the cost of the fracking. So they don't frack every 100 meter. Some of the 100 meter they skip because it's too tight or too difficult to frack, so they skip it. So that's kind of optimizing on the frack and saving costs on the frack and the perforation.
Yes, yes.
The second one is one of the biggest issue is contamination. Okay, contamination usually by design it shouldn't be there unless there is an issue when we frack. Can you speak about how we control the frack itself, or how we know it went out of zone or not?
I didn't catch it very good, Mr. Khan.
No problem. If we perforate, if we do frack based on our design, nothing should happen. No contamination, no problem at all. But the contamination happen usually when the frack goes outside your zone. Okay? During the frack, how do you know you went out of the zone?
You lose, maybe you lose some volume of your pumping fluid.
So I'm not sure if we over the month we did or not. We have when we frack, there is the rock will crack, okay, and when the rock does crack, it will generate a sound wave. Those sound waves you can capture if you have a microseismic event capturing around. So usually companies, if they suspect they can go out of the zone, they have like a small seismic survey measuring those cracks, and they can know where those cracks happen. And if they suspect is going out of the zone, they will stop the pumping to not allow the frac to go out of the zone. So they use, usually you have vertical wells around your fracking area. They lower geophones and they do the interpretation live. They pump and they then do the interpretation live. Whenever they see any crack outside the zone or almost outside, they stop. So there is two ways to avoid contamination: is design it properly and also control it during the frac itself. Those are the couple of questions and the one comment I have.
Thank you, sir.
Hello,
Thank you,
everyone.
Mr. Khalid.
Go ahead. I have a question, and before my question, I have a little comment about this permeability and porosity. I just, for you or for your information, Mr. Lotfi, that the unconventional reservoir is characterized by its very low permeability. So basically less than 0.01 millidarcy. So there is no such reservoir that doesn't have a porosity. Otherwise, the gas is not contained, as brother Kamal mentioned. So you did also mention in your presentation.
Thank you very much, and the team.
You did also mention that the the fracture, when we do the hydraulic fracturing, the fracture doesn't reach the aquifer, and we showed us an image. Can you please explain to us? It was or like brother Kamal explained it in one of his lessons before. Could you please tell us how that the fracture doesn't reach the aquifer above, like when it's 1,500 meter or 1,000 meter above the reservoir?
So your question is how the fracture is not reaching the drinking water aquifer like this?
Yes.
Because firstly, the well integrity first. We have casing and same. We have a casing plus cement. This is first, and the aquifer is about 500, and our reservoir is about 3,000 meters. So the fracture, when we fracture, like Mr. Khalid say, we can if we are out of the zone, we stop reaching, we stop pumping the fluids.
How do you know you're out of the zone? The seismic event only shows you a seismic event. It doesn't tell you the depth. It doesn't tell you the height. It doesn't tell you any of that. A seismic event, when you do microseismic, is just an event. Now, what if you don't have enough depth between your fracked zone and the aquifer? What if they are close to each other? They're not 1,500 meters apart. They're not 500 meters apart. If they are adjacent to each other, what would you do?
What we do, how I control my hydraulic fracture?
أصلا نقول هيك بالعربية باش ما نتمحنوش بزاف بالانجلي. كون يظهر الريزرفوار تاعك نتايا لاصق في لاكيفير، بعد لاكيفير لاصق فيه، عندك الماء منه وعندك الشيل غاز ولا الريزرفوار تحته، ماشي بعيد عليه بزاف. كيفاش دير باش كيفاش تغارونتي باللي ما تدخلش في الماء هذاك وما تكونتامينيش؟
ما قلتهاش، لا ريبونس.
صح. وكاينه حاجه اخرى ابراهيم، جميل تسكت برك انا مادام جونسي. You spoke about upward migration of hydrocarbons into the aquifer. Well, this is not a problem linked to shale gas. This is a problem linked to any oil and gas exploration. If you have leaky well bores or you have natural fractures connecting your reservoir to your aquifers, that risk is the same for conventional or for unconventional plays. So the subject today, I thought we're talking about unconventional plays, you know, the risk associated with unconventional, like shale or tight or CBM, whatever unconventional we have covered. But the risks you're presenting general risks associated with any oil and gas production, such as produced water coming to surface, gas coming to surface. These are normal and they are common risks for any exploration of oil and gas.
Yes, okay. Understand this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kamal. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you, Mr. Khalid. Thank you also, Marwan, and all your team. I just want to remind you guys that you have only 10 minutes for the presentation, okay? Okay, let's move on to the second team. The team number 2, the members of the team number 2 are Zohra Khalifi, Rehana bin Zeta, Dalal Shibani, Zindin, and El Madin. Best of luck to all of you. So the mic is yours, Zohra. I believe that you're the leader. We're waiting for you to share your screen.
Hi, everyone. First, I want to thank the OISPEC team for their work to give us this opportunity. It was such a good experience. And also, I want to thank the experts for teaching us. We really learned a lot. I will share my screen.
Not yet, Zahra. There you go.
What about now?
Okay. Go ahead.
So this is my team style. First, I will start with the basic informations. What is unconventional resources? Are resources generally oil or natural gas resources that do not appear in traditional formations and must use specialized extraction or production techniques to obtain fuel from the deposit? What are the unconventional resources? Shale gas or shale oil, Tate gas sand, coal bed methane, methane hydrate, tar sand. The difference between conventional and unconventional reservoirs. The conventional wells are high permeability reservoirs. It can be produced by traditional methods. Reservoir and fluid characteristic of conventional reservoirs typically permit oil or natural gas to flow readily into well bores. unconventional wells, low permeability reservoir, unit force keep hydrocarbons in place below a ceiling capwalk, emitter source rock. Shale gas exploration is a challenge that we have to take it. Shale gas emerges as a new and important source of energy for the post-industrial world. It is assumed that countries that have considerable shale deposits will be better placed in the 21st century. Shale gas is a natural gas contained in source rock, which has a low permeability. Shale reservoir in brief. We can put it in one single sentence. Go get the hydrocarbons from the source rock before it migrates. That's simply what an unconventional reservoir is all about. I will not go into wait the hydrocarbons to leave the source rock and try to migrate up and try to find a reservoir and a trap to create a conventional reservoir. I am not going to wait for this because if you do, you will lose a lot of your hydrocarbon that may not find a reservoir or may not find a trap. So for a petroleum engineer, this is really a bad choice. If you leave the hydrocarbons, we will lose 90% of the hydrocarbons that's left the source rock is gone. And we only have 10% that success to find a reservoir and a trap. So we are not going to do this again. Go get the hydrocarbons from the kitchen. In this case, you can get all without losing anything of it. That's why the unconventional reservoir hydrocarbon is placed in huge because, oh, sorry. Sorry, just for a sec. I'm sorry for that. That's why the unconventional reservoir hydrocarbon is placed in huge because you are talking about something did not leave the water, did not leave and was not loose. So, a fact about shale reservoirs: any rock that has a grain size 0.001 to 0.004 millimeters is considered geologically as a shale. Its permeability is a nanodarcy, a very low permeability. Shale reservoir may or may not have porosity. Hydraulic fracturing is the most suitable completion method applicable. Horizontal well is a must. You need to think out of the box. The opportunity of producing shale gas is a challenge. We are going to face it sooner or later. USA is the most successful experience worldwide in shale gas extraction. Off-log resource and the interest in shale gas exploration have been identified also in other areas such as Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, China, several countries in Europe and Africa. For this reason, if any country wants to have a successful shale gas extraction, it must follow the American way. Me and my team are within the extraction of this golden resource, shale gas. And in the next part, we will describe our view in a few slides. The economic side. The most important thing in all oil and gas industries is the economic side. How much money I will gain plus a huge capital, but also a contribution of $57 billion estimated in 2035 from shale gas. After the first step of the extraction, the other costs are too low than the conventional costs because of the low energy used. The unconventional reservoir hydrocarbon is in place is huge. According to a Cambridge Energy Research Associates, report, the main benefits to the American economy of shale gas revolution were a sharp decrease in the price of gas, about 3.5 times during 2008 to 2013 period, at a level 3 to 4 times lower in comparison with Europe's price of gas from Russia. The huge amount of gas in the unconventional reservoirs in Algeria give us the chance to keep the European markets in our side. This is a typical resource rock reservoir decline curve. The social side, this challenge opened a lot of jobs chance for the petroleum engineers. The US had a creation of approximately 800,000 new jobs until 2011, with the possibility of doubling their number by 2035. And as we know all, that we have in Algeria a large number of employed people in oil and gas field. The rejection of social opinion is very important, but it's not final. The government have to open the door to neutral environmental bodies that do not have any political interest with the government or an economic interest with the company, that attend to exploit, to explain more about the technique and the technology to give them the chance to change the social shale gas view. The UK had the same problem, and the solution was to engage and participate in those systems, because you are facing a population which contain different technology level. To convince them, you need to make them participate in the governance, present them neutral environment reports due to successful technologies in hydraulic fracturing execution without forcing them. The technical technologies, progress and technology. Typically, if it's a shale gas accumulation, you are talking about a shale layer somewhere between 2.5 and 3 kilometers, maybe 4.5 kilometers below the surface. To reach and extract it, you are basically going to drill vertical well for evaluation, then horizontal well, which is going to follow source rock. The aquifer where our drinking water comes from, typically in the first 500 meters. The size of this fracture is determined to 100 meters, then where fracking way below and water table. Hydraulic fracturing. What is the hydraulic fracturing? It is stimulation treatment routinely performed on oil and gas wells in low permeability reservoirs. Specially engineered fluid are pumped at high pressure and weight into the reservoir interval to be treated, causing a vertical fracture to open. The wings of the fracture extend away from a wellbore in opposing direction according to the natural stress with the formation. Proppant, such as a grain of sand of particular size, is mixed with the treatment fluid to keep the fracture open when the treatment is complete. Hydraulic fracturing creates high conductivity communication with a large area of formation and bypasses any damage that may exist in near wellbore area. 5 technologies and methods that make the fracking cleaner. Using a waterless fracking systems, replace fresh water with recycled water or green, replace diesel power equipment, introduce wastewater purification, reduce methane leaks. Environment impact. Induced seismicity, groundwater contamination, atmospheric emission, impact on water and environment. Studies shows fracking safe. A study from the Dak Nicholas School of the Environment conclude that more than 90% of wastewater from hydraulic fracturing sites is safe, and the probability of having environmental impact is low. Additionally, Avin Vengosh, professor of Earth and Ocean Science at Duke, said with a proper treatment fracking, fluid could be reused for agriculture irrigation. irrigation, especially in area where fresh water is scarce and the drought in presence. A 2-year analysis realized where Wyoming Department of Environmental Quality shows fracking doesn't contaminate water. In 2016, researchers from the Cowlow Water District in Bakersfield, California, showed that treated water used in hydraulic fracturing is safe for agricultural use. The study found no significant difference between crop irrigated with recycled water extracted during the oil production process and those irrigated from the other sources. Algeria. Algeria remains heavily dependent on this export to earn foreign currency, with hydrocarbons forming 97 to 98% of all export revenue in recent years. And because of that, it's not production of shale gas. Algeria trying to raise the level of the conventional gas production to keep the economic balance and the market, but for how long that will be effective. Why the shale gas is the best choice? Because Algeria had the third biggest reserve, as it shows here.
Zahra,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but your 10 minutes are over.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
Now
So
we're
thank
gonna
you.
pass to the
Thank you, Sam.
questions.
No,
So-
excuse me. I know she has 10 minutes, but I would like to see her conclusion, because that's when we got, this is when we get into the subject and you cut her off. We don't have to ask questions, but I would rather listen to what she has to say. Honestly, I want to see it. On the last,
Thank you,
how many
Mr.
slides?
Kamal.
How many slides you have left?
Not a lot.
You can add, you know, take 1 minute more. I want to see, because this is when you got into the subject we want to hear about. Please go ahead. We're just wasting time. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Why the shale gas is the best choice to us? Because Algeria had the third biggest reserve, as we see here. Also, and because we don't have that much capital technologies experience in this industry, with other investments in mean and renewable energy and agriculture, etc., Algeria has little enough time to think seriously about the shale gas exploration, not to ignore it. Given the opportunity to the companies which has worked in the domain and have a long experience, collecting appropriate Algerian competence around the world, which have already worked in the unconventional reservoir field, updating the technologies. Sonatrach have to organize server training to the engineers to have the aptitude to controlling different hydraulic fracturing technologies. The conclusion, like any new experience, it may have a lot of difficulty and miscommunication on it, but that doesn't mean that we will ignore it. This is a chance to know more about our negatives and fix them, and this idea should remain on the table for serious discussion and suitable preparation for a good execution in the future. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zahra. Now, thank you for your work. Now it's time for the judges to ask some questions.
You wanna go ahead, Kemal or Khalid, or?
I forfeit my question because I gave her more time for the presentation. So go ahead.
That's fine. I'm gonna go quickly. Thank you so much for the good presentation, Zahra. You did mention that we have the third largest proven reserves in the world, and if we don't take advantage and extract it from the ground, we're gonna lose the European market. That's a good point that you mentioned. I wish that you could not rely on your script. So I urge the guys that you guys don't rely on your script. As Kamal mentioned, that you need to go with the bullet point instead. I have a couple of questions in here, if you don't mind. So what do you mean by the social opinion? Do you mean like is the a public opinion that you said like a very important? Is that okay? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's it. The public opinion.
No, I don't agree with that because the public opinion doesn't have nothing to do, because it should go back to the expert who decides whether we should go ahead and extract this asset from the ground or no. Because my question, how can the public opinion add the value to the decision that the government can make?
In Warigla or in Tindouf, I'm not sure from that. But when we find the unconventional reservoirs here in Algeria, they didn't accept that. That's why the government just ignored that.
Hello.
Dalal, do you have something to say?
Yes, I want to answer this question, please.
Go ahead.
If you can hear me. Are you hearing?
Yeah, we can, Dalal.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
hear you.
There is a technical issue. I guess.
Well, I wanted to say that UK. Hello. I wanted to say that UK start to make some solutions, especially about the social impact, and I found they opened the door for the public opinion opportunities to share with the governments of this shale gas industry, because you can't underestimate the level of the society. It contains a different level of knowledge, and to convince them, you need some technologies, you need some regulations to protect the environment. So, of course, social has the biggest impact in the decision of this of taking this risk, opportunity to say.
Well, Dalal, that's in this case we're gonna get them involved in everything, because when it comes to the technical, I'm talking about the technical point of view, because we cannot ask the public and tell them, hey, should I go ahead and drill the shale gas and do?
No, I said it is a limitation. من الاخر بتحب تمحي نقول بارير هذه الاوبستاكل اللي هو تاع السوسيال، لازم تقنعهم بالتكنولوجيا اللي حتمدها، لازم تفتح لهم. You have to open the doors to prove that fracturing hydrogen is safe for the nature. Because if public doesn't convince with that, you can't do something to force them. It's not a democratic thing. I think that's all.
I
agree with Dalal, Brahim. I agree with Dalal. Like the public is not the one that's gonna license a company to drill or not, but they definitely have the right to file a statement of concern, and the oil and gas company should explain to them and should mitigate or convince them. If they are convinced there are risks, the oil and gas company should show them how those risks are mitigated or how they are completely removed before they go ahead and do the work. I agree. I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Ibrahim. Maybe I didn't.
No.
I understand what you're saying, Dalal. Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Kamal.
Me too. I got her point after she explained it. So
yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
So
other questions, please?
Yeah, so very quickly, a human being will engage with you in two ways. I believe in you, or I share the benefit with you, okay? And every company should work on both. Believe in you, they should explain and convince as much as they can. Number two, they should share the benefit. And Sonatrach has a habit of not sharing the benefit with the local, and that's why people even try to hijack Halliburton crew when they frack the second well in Ain Saleh, okay? So, and US, they do that. They explain every time to raise the belief, and they share the benefit, which irrigate the farmer with the water. That's the quantity may be less than 0.1%, but they show the benefit. I can drill few water wells for you guys. So I have a couple points. One of them, Zohra, you said, let's not wait for the gas to leave the source raw. What if I don't have capital? Can I wait for a few years? I got my answer. So,
Stand on
Wait a
you,
minute.
sir.
okay, I got my answer. Good enough.
The
Yeah.
oil and gas has been there for millions and
Yeah,
millions.
that's,
of
I
years.
got
It's
my
not
answer.
going anywhere.
Once you love, so it's just a metaphor expression. It's not direct.
Yeah.
This is the American way. Okay, American way. What do you mean by American way? The technical and the companies and the expert, or what you mean exactly? What is the big branches of American way?
Well, the American are the first one who studied training this kind of wells and conventional wells and conventional reservoirs, and they of course have their mistakes and their experience, like what we call it, first generation development. For the moment, they don't repeat in the same mistakes, or I don't know, like in Marcellus or in the Western Desert in US. I think that they update that technologies like Padrillion or other technologies for keeping fractional hydraulic safe and keeping the capitals and rising the costs. So that's why we took US as an example. That's all.
Okay, so I know a lot of people, when they talk about American way, they look to the technical side. The technical side we can buy, we can engage and collaborate.
But the environment
also, sir, the experimental side, like we should learn from them experience.
Yeah, so that one is not a big deal. We can buy it, we can go partner, we can learn with them. The second most important is the legal side, which people they underestimate. The legal side and all the legal stuff, those are difficult. And that one, for the legal stuff, you need a mentality change of the Algerian government and the Algerian laws. So in my opinion, that's the difficult one. Thank you very much for the very good presentation.
Thank you very much.
On the top of that, Mr. Khaled, not all the land in the United States belong to the government. It's not all.
Yeah, landowner. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, some of it goes to the local communities, like reservation and this kind of stuff. You know.
That's why the legal issue, the legal side, is more difficult to inherit from American. The technical side, we can deal with it and get it very quick, but the legal is difficult.
I just want to correct, like, just add a little to my. I don't agree with the expression "let's follow the American way," because actually, honestly, nobody got the shale gas into trouble like the Americans did.
That's
So there are other countries who do a lot better than the US. And what the message you guys need to take is كل بلاد ورطالها. If any country wants to develop shale gas or oil or whatever, they have to do it in line with the rules and the specificity of that country, right? Then the Algerians have to do it the Algerian way. The Canadians do it the Canadian way. The American do it the American way. Nobody has to follow the other way, but you can learn from their mistakes, and you can also copy their technology if you need it. But okay, Algeria has to have an Algerian way, and that's what it should be. The main message, I guess.
Yes.
Thank you for this.
Thank you very much.
Good presentation overall.
Thank you, ladies.
That's right. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Zahra and Dalal. That was so good. Thank you, Mr. Kamal, Mr. Ibrahim, and Mr. Khalid. Before we move on, I just want you to manage your time, please, because it must be fair. Everybody has the same time. So now it's the third team time. The team members are Hamzat, Nina Shaleh, and Fatima. Wish you all the best. You can go ahead and start.
Good evening. Due to some problems, we were not able to prepare a presentation, so we'll miss the stage. And wish good luck to other team members.
What are you saying, Hamza? You're not going to be presenting?
Yeah, because we had midterms at university and my other team members were not able to prepare presentation. So
can you talk to us instead rather than presenting? We can have a conversation for 10 minutes. You can tell us, you can argue the case yourself or whoever's with you about why should we do shale gas and why not, or why should we not do it? What do you think, you personally?
Today I'm alone, but I will try to give what I understand, say what I understand based on what I read. I think I just asked some Algerian students about their opinion, why this is problematic in zero, and all what they answered was it's this governmental issue, political issue, and I just got that. Like according to my research, I think it's beneficial, and we should explore more shale gas because as we we have many countries has unconventional resources, and it's very large amount of resource. And if we are able to extract it, we can gain more benefit from it, like new workplaces, more money, and government, like country can earn lots of benefit. However, on the other hand, for extracting shale gas, we should frack the formation or do some other techniques, and this can damage to our environment as well, like maybe water, like it can pollute water, our drink water, which is and also may result to some earthquakes or some other tectonic problems. On this side, I think we should consider this factor as well. However, generally, extracting shale gas will be beneficial, in my opinion.
So when you say that may generate some earthquakes,
Mhm.
do you have news of earthquakes that were as direct result of extracting shale gas, or as can you tell us if you have heard or you have, fact where an earthquake has taken place because
Okay.
of shale extraction?
Mhm. I say it because based on if we fracture formation, if the frac size is very large, it can destroy our formation, and as a result, it can result some tectonic problems. So based on that, I said, but actually, I don't heard about earthquakes or anything. But
So in your opinion, the risk of earthquake has never materialized anywhere?
I haven't read about this, but I think it's possible because again, we fracture formation. If the fracture size is large, and it can result after some years, it may result to catastrophic things, or maybe small, but anyway, we still have chance to some tectonic movements.
Okay, we've been fracking for 15 years. We're still waiting for that. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah, you guys have a conversation with him, at least that we know how we stand, rather than him forfeiting his turn, right?
Probably will let him finish first. You still have something to say, Mohammed? Or you carry on if you don't mind.
Me, I think I don't have anything left, but you may ask some questions related to it, and I can answer. If possible, I will answer.
What do you think? Does it have an negative impact on the environment? Like,
Yeah.
Yes or no?
We can. I think it also has some negative impact and positive impact when we compare to other source. As negative for extracting it, and for when we when production stage, it's emitting some greenhouse gases, I think, and some it pollutes our air as well, and as also as I said, water. But if we compare it with other source, when we burn this source of shale gas, yeah, it has it's less pollutant than coal, very less pollutant. And as we know, coal is the main source for high power generation. It can be good source for in environmental side.
So the good side of the shale gas is at the end of the day it's gas. So it's cleaner than coal and diesel or
And
electric
also,
generation. So
yeah, and also it's low. It has low price, and I think that factor, as it's gas, is will be good to consider.
so there is risk and there is benefit, and the last word of it is the benefit is very clear. The risk, it could be mitigated, and it could be lowered, and it could be working on. So, and
Exactly. That was what I wanted.
makes it beneficial at the end of the day.
Hamza, you're from Azerbaijan, right?
Yes, I'm from Azerbaijan.
Are you guys doing any of this unconventional at all in Azerbaijan? Have they started doing it?
I think we don't have any unconventional resource. We have mostly conventional.
Conventional, right?
Yeah.
And when you do the conventional, you guys frack the conventional as well?
I think we have it, but it's not widely learned in here. So I think it's very small amount, just very. It's not common because in our university we don't study.
And when you produce your conventional resources, do you see water pollution or air pollution because of that?
Water pollution. I don't have much information about this as I'm third year and we still I haven't heard about. But general, like we always have air pollution as we produce gas. It some in completion stage or some stage the gas is
Flared or vented,
open.
Yeah.
It can, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. At least you didn't forfeit. It's always nice to have a conversation, right?
Good idea.
I do consider it as a presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I would also like to thank for SPE Algerian section for organizing this great project, and also thank you for giving a wonderful sessions. Yeah. And good luck other team members as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamza. And don't worry, you're gonna see what to do about it. So let's move on to the fourth team. The team members are Mahmoud Diouf, Matasim Bilal Arousi, and Mustafa Kinan. You can go ahead. All the best.
Hello everyone, good evening. I hope you are healthy, safe, and doing great in these hard days. First of all, on behalf of my team, I would like to thank you for organizing this amazing project, and also I would like to give special thanks to the speakers who made this project wonderful. I am Junduz Mahmudov from Azerbaijan, and together with Motasem and Kilan, we will try to cover shale gas potential and future impact topics. So let's get started. Next. What we are going to cover today will be general information about conventional and unconventional reservoir. Then we are going to touch some technical recovery source. After that, we will mention some significance of shale gas in economy. And together with that, we're gonna mention some key points about what makes shale gas so important with giving some facts. And by having a question answer session, we're gonna finish our presentation.
We do believe in shale gas exploitation. We believe with the right measure can bring great economical benefits with limited impacts in the environment. But before taking any further steps, into supporting this idea, into convincing you by this idea, I see that is it absolutely fundamental to have a deeper understanding to our subject, the subject that all of our arguments are going to be revolving around, which is of course shale gas. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to achieve that better understanding by comparing shale gas to a very familiar concept, which is natural gas, a well-known resource that we have been extracting since decades. And my comparison will be based in two terms: the chemical composition and the nature of the reservoir. So in terms of the composition, they are pretty similar, mostly methane, which make sense because they are both from the same resource. So the difference must be in the nature of the reservoir. Well, shale gas has unconventional reservoir. In another word, low permeability, which will require stimulation to produce. On the other hand, natural gas has conventional reservoir, high permeability, and easier to produce due to the effect of the relative high permeability. Next, please. Another interesting fact is going to be introduced to the table, and the following diagram going to help us doing so. As you can see, the horizontal wells are used in extraction shale gas, and the vertical ones are used in extraction natural gas. And that has to do mainly with the distribution of gas. Shale gas mostly has, unlike natural gas, has a horizontal distribution. So it is more sufficient and more effective to use horizontal wells. Next. Now, just to summarize and gather our thoughts about shale gas. Shale gas has a similar composition to natural gas. It is trapped within shale formation that has low permeability, and hydraulic fracturing is preferable method to stimulate the reservoir, and horizontal wells are used to produce it. Also, shale gas is a great resource to provide electricity. It ranks between 4 and 8 relative to other options. And countries like China, Argentina, Algeria, and the US, Canada have the largest estimated reservoir in the world. Now, after we build a solid comprehension about shale gas, we can move to why shale gas is so important. And there is no better example to take than the American experience with shale gas. As you can see, the exploitation of shale gas in America has led to an increased resource estimation, and also led directly to an increase in the gas production. The gas production is represented by the red line. And by 2012, the US had become the biggest producer in the whole world. Overall, the US was very successful with shale gas. But the question remains, what benefits did the US gain from producing shale gas? Next. First of all, a reduced need for imports and an enhanced US energy security because of the large supplies. The shale gas has managed to cover more than the third of the energy needed by the US industries.
Secondly, it's very beneficial to the local people. You might wonder how. Let's see, if we're gonna produce that gas from the reservoir, that means there would be wells drilled, pipelines constructed, and many other facilities constructed. And to construct all of them, we need a human, we need a worker, which means there would be many job opportunities for the people. And if we consider people who work in this area are paid much, and it can change country population's living standards. Okay, another process of shale gas, it can be used instead of the coal that we already know is more contaminated than shale gas. If we look to the details of the shale gas, is also known as the cleanest fuel as it burns about half carbon dioxide, 3/4 less nitrogen oxide than coal, and almost it burns sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide. And another fact about energy consumption is we know that China generates 70% of its energy from the coal, and it's main energy consuming country in the world. As we already discussed, that coal is more pollutive than the shale gas. It means China can prevent huge environmental problems by using its shale gas reservoirs, and they can prevent global warming problems in the future.
When we go with the environment benefits of shale gas, and that's the main controversial subject, locally, shale gas emits fewer criteria air pollutants from coal. Therefore, a shift from coal to shale gas would benefit public health, local environment protection, and the safety of workers. Why? Coal, because it is potentially radioactive, and coal creates a high level of carbon emissions, and also emissions of a harmful substance can created by coal. Globally, the GHG greenhouse gas footprint of shale gas is likely to be smaller than coal footprint. And also over the entire life cycle, however, power from coal consumes more water than power from shale gas because coal-fired plants are less efficient than AGCC, the natural gas combined cycle. For who does know, AGCC is an advanced power generation technology which allows to improve the fuel efficiency of natural gas. And another benefits, shale gas drilling also causes less surface disturbance than coal mining. And when we talk about the importance of shale gas to some countries, we must focus at these points. So the first benefit is extracting the shale gas, it balances the oil prices. Oil prices are expected to decrease in case of using shale oil and gas potential by the countries which have shale reserve. USA began to produce shale gas and it has already showed its effect on prices. Also, it breaks the monopoly of oil exporting countries. As we all know, the USA and China are the biggest oil exporting countries. Also, they have the biggest shale gas potential. These dual structures will cause the income of oil exporting countries decrease, especially Arabic countries will be affected badly. And the last benefits, it has the power of improved economic indicators. So according to Open Government Partnership, OGB, it's expected that shale gas production will increase competition and reduce the imported energy dependence in the region, and also it provide 1.7 and 3 trillion euros for European economy between the years 2020 and 2050. So in conclusion, we all know that the extraction of natural resources harms directly or indirectly the environment. The issue is not just limited to shale gas extractions. The issue is about answering these questions. Are there technical solutions available to minimize negative impact on air, water, and land in the short terms? And do we have a high technology to extract the shale gas without damaging the environment negatively? So if we answer that question with yes, then we all have to support that all countries who have shale gas reserve to start producing in order to increase their income. Finally, I would thank the judge, and we hope that our presentation didn't take long. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. Yes, you can go ahead, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yeah, thank you for the good presentation. So we were expecting you to answer those questions, Mr. Vitor. But anyways, I have like a few remarks. Good presentation is good overall, and it's good that you mentioned the gas is gas, because some people they think that the shale gas is a toxic gas, but the gas is a gas. There is no such difference between the gas extracted from a conventional and the unconventional. The only difference is that the gas extracted from conventional reservoir, it flows out by its very natural pressure after draining the well, but the unconventional needs more technique, and you guys did mention that, so good. I actually don't have questions. If you guys can go ahead and ask questions, Khalid and Kamal.
Yeah. Again, I thank you for the clarity of your presentation and the organization and the delivery of it. It's really good. However, my biggest concern is you guys kind of missed the objective of the presentation. You here you did the trial of the coal versus gas, right? So you are showing us the benefits of gas compared to coal and the pollution caused by coal burning, which I agree with you 100%. There's no dispute on either the natural gas is better fuel than coal or other sources of, other fossil fuels. However, I believe like the previous presentations we've seen, the objective was to show us. Yes, I'll come in a minute. Kenzie has to come his way and say something too. For me, I feel like you guys missed a little bit on the objective of the presentation, is to compare shale gas or unconventional gases in general to conventional gases and talk about the risk associated with the unconventional extraction and the people perception. We wanted to hear your perception about that. That's my point, and I will reflect that on my judgment anyway. But you guys did a great job. I like the originality and everything. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello. I just lost my internet connection during the session. What happened? Hello.
We can hear you, Arusi.
Who's talking, please?
We can hear you, Matasim.
Go ahead, Khalid. Do you have something to say, Khalid?
I usually mute when I'm not talking to avoid the noise. Yeah, sorry for that. So for the team, first of all, the organization is really good and clear and in time. But the same, like Kamal said, you compare, all your comparison is based on the coal. Okay. My first thing, you said China and US, they have the monopoly of the production in the world. Is that correct, or did I hear it wrongly, please? Hello?
Yes.
In one of the slides, you said China and the US, they have the monopoly of the production.
Yes.
So production of what? The fuel or gas or what? Because, or you are talking only on the shale gas?
No, in the slide we were talking about the natural resources that USA and China leads the,
So China is leading only in the coal, yeah, guys. Huh? When we go to oil and gas, they are not. They are pure consumption country. Yeah. So in the gas, with India, they start using gas for replacing shortage energy. But oil and gas, they are not on the lead. Yeah. Just to let you know. Yes. US, yes, but China, no, on the oil and gas.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we talk about shale gas in Algeria and perception, let's talk, for example, about Algeria. Your presentation is focused on offsetting the coal, okay? And if we are in Algeria producing the shale gas and selling it to other countries, let's say we sell shale gas to China, for example, okay? So we offset the coal in China. But what is the benefit for the people in Algeria, in your opinion? Is it just money? What is the benefit for Algeria, in your opinion, to pursue environmental impact for Algeria? Because Algeria, we don't use coal.
If you're talking about coal or shale?
The shale gas, when we produce the shale gas in
Yes,
Algeria.
yes. If Algeria has the technology of extracting shale gas, why not? It may win the market.
So it's purely economical benefit.
Yes, but for if she has the technology, because if she didn't has technology, it will damage the environment.
It can provide as well job opportunities and big new technologies to Algeria.
This is what we wanted to hear from you guys. بيطور مصطفى تهضروا اخي انتم جزائريين تهضروا عربيه يا اخي.
Yes, نعم.
ايه علاش رحتوا تحكيوا على الفحم فيرسس لو غاز وحنا لو سوجي تاعنا لامباكت تاع لو شيل غاز على l'environnement اسكو سي une bonne chose ولا سي une mauvaise chose.
Mr. Kamal.
نعم.
Did you hear my part of the presentation?
Yes, I did. I heard all the presentation.
But I lost connection during it.
No,
in the middle.
It was good, Mu'tasim.
I thought that I lost connection. That's what I thought.
No. We heard all. I saw all the slides. You guys had about 12 slides. I've seen all of them. I saw them, and they were really on the deliverability of the presentation. You did a great job. You did awesome. The originality of the presentation is great. I just felt that you just missed the target. I wish البريزنتاسيون كانت في صميم الموضوع يعني كون درتوها على الشيل غاز يعني فيرسز لي كونسيرن يعني الحوايج اللي الناس خايفين منهم من الشيل غاز اسكو يسون فري ولا فو. Sorry to inform you. You guys would have done a great job.
Well, we speak about the benefit that shale gas can bring economically and
not economically. He said environment.
Of course, but الشعب الجزائري n'est pas contre الشعب نهضروا على الجزائر particulièrement ولا في فرنسا ولا الانجليز les gens ne sont pas contre l'impact économique les gens ils sont contre l'impact environnemental وهذا هو اللي اللي عليه احنا اليوم شويه.
Yeah, but in the presentation they didn't ask us to like focus on Algeria in particular. It was general.
In general, but the Algerian example.
Yeah, we took China as an example and the US to solve the problem of CBM, the pollution that is coming from producing CBM. That's why we focus a little bit in coal. We thought through using shale gas we could provide an alternative for CBM, which is less polluted compared to CBM. That's what we try to do.
Don't use the word CBM because you're talking about coal and you're saying CBM, and they are two completely different things. CBM is the gas out of the coal, and the coal is the coal. So and usually they're different.
I meant coal. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Charcoal. You're talking about the family hargon.
I didn't get to the part question. Can you ask any question, please? I wasn't here for the question. Can you ask any questions?
Rossi, you asked some question at the end in the conclusion, and those questions we were expecting you to answer in this presentation. So you asked about, is the technology present to do like the shale gas? Do we have technologies to mitigate the risk when it comes to the negative impact on the environment? So we were expecting you to answer this question. Unfortunately, you guys shifted from, like, you compared shale gas with the coal, with using the coal, but
it's okay. Well,
yes, actually there are some technologies about how to minimize the environmental impact.
Yeah, we can mention a few of them now.
You can mention it if you want, but it takes time to.
Go ahead.
Okay, can I?
Yes. So in term of pollution, we can use muffler to reduce the noise pollution. We can reduce methane leakage using
No,
permission.
no. You guys had your share like the rest of them, right? And you got a good share.
I just lost my connection at the last few moments, so I wasn't here for the. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
Your friends spoke for you. Maybe you lost the connection, but your friend from
I got that. I understand that. Yeah, I understand.
You're not gonna start a new presentation on the top now because you had your chance. We have to be fair. We give you time. We have to be fair to everybody else, right?
Yeah, I got that. I just want to thank you, Mr. Kamal, and to thank the rest of the speaker for the whole camp. It was a great journey. I learned a lot from it, and it was very beneficial. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
You have to be fair to your friends too. Thank you.
Cannot abuse the time, you know. Cannot abuse the time.
Yeah, because I lost my internet connection. That's why I'm acting like that much.
Your friends didn't, and they kept going. I mean, the guy from Azerbaijan, he was presenting really good, and he finished. So I think we heard what you guys had to present. And that's good job. And then
I got that. Thank you, Mr. Kamal. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry. All right.
No worries. It's all good. Thank you.
To you, Hanin.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kamal, Mr. Khalid, Mr. Ibrahim. Move on to the team 5. The 5th team is Sumaya Hanan Sahrawi, Ayub Hamidan, Asya Hilal, and Ahmed Gambur. Sorry. Wishing you all the best. It's your time. The screen and the mic are yours. Yeah, we're waiting for you to share your screen.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see your screen.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Sumaya Hanan Sahrawi. I hope you're good. You're all good. In this session, we'll be talking about the risk of shale gas. But before that, I would like to introduce my team members, which are Asya Hilal, Ahmed Gambur, and Ayub Hamidan. And I would love to thank all the members of OISPEC and the professors for their hard work and for this chance. We're gonna start. I will give the word to my partner, Asya. Asya, you can go. Hello, Asya. Oh, I think he's not here.
Hanan, can you present yourself? Can you do the presentation yourself?
Yes, I think so. I didn't prepare it all. We like each one of us had his parts, but I'll try to take hers. So first of all, we'll talk about the introduction to shale gas and reserves around the world. Second point, we'll talk about shale gas risk. 3, methane and water risk. 4, other resources. And 5, a little conclusion. So shale gas is recognized as alternative new renewable energy supply for transitional, okay, this is her part, I'm sorry, stage between no renewable and renewable resources. However, it is a natural gas contained in mud or clay rocks rich in organic matters, rocks that may have a shale butter structure. The extraction of shale gas is particularly difficult and requires systematic use of the combined techniques of directional draining and hydraulic fracturing in large volumes, which are particularly costly. The energy companies have known about the existence of shale gas since its first extraction as a cottage industry in Fredonia, New York in Niue in 1821. So in 1967 and 1973, the political situation in the Middle East led to increased price for oil as well as supply shortage. It was against the background of volatile oil price and trying to ensure security of supply that in 1967, the U.S. indicated the Eastern Shale project as cost up to $200 million. Shale gas reserves around the world. So we have in US, Mexico, Canada, and we have a fresh runway, UK, some of China, Pakistan, Argentina, Brazil, Algeria, Libya, South Africa, and Australia. This is a big, like a large image, not really design it. Okay, guys, okay, I give the word to Ahmed. Ahmed, this is your part. I think they left me alone here. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, I'll continue. Shale gas risk around the world. Environmentally dangerous. The emission of greenhouse gases, which cause global warming. Fracking has been linked to earthquake. The contamination of surface fossil fuels, which emits carbon dioxide when it's burned, contain 18 to 95% methane. So energy penalties at every stage of production and distribution. Energy use competes with use for chemicals. Next slide. Okay, this is when we compare the emission of methane and CO2, comparing it to gas, to normal gas. We have really the huge number from shale gas methane emission. Like when we compare the emission of methane gas and CO2 comparing to other gas, shale gas will have the big percentage comparing to the others. So shale gas production risk to water. Scientific studies confirm that the extraction of this gas will pollute drinking water in the future with toxic arsenic, radioactive uranium, and other additives. It consumes a huge quantity of water, like we're talking in 500 liters in seconds. The cracks caused by the machines used in drilling affect the mother rock and contaminate the groundwater. The head of the left front inference stressed that extracting shale gas with water is a dangerous process and catastrophe for the ecosystem, and the exploitation of this gas may cause a real disaster. Plus, the chemicals products that left from refineries are completely contrary to the ecosystem. We will study this case in Algeria. Abdelkarim Shalom, an expert natural disaster and head of Grand Risk Club in Algeria, warned of great danger threatening Algeria if the shale gas extraction project goes ahead, stressing that it is poison. He added the risk of extracting shale gas will be the reasons of pollution and the underground water, which cause health problems for the citizens, calling on the government to cancel this project as Algeria is indispensable as long as natural gas is available in large quantity. He said that shale gas is available in large quantity in Europe and America, many times greater than the quantities in Algeria, but they avoid extraction it due to the great threat it to pose to the ecosystem. So Algeria should oppose the exploitation of shale gas and choose other resources that generate wealth. These are some organic molecules and the negative health effects that we can find in shale gas well, like water, the side of water. We're talking about hemolytic anemia, respiratory effect, central nervous system depression, liver effect, cancer risks, corrosive for skin, eyes, and eyes damage. Okay, this is when we talk about like benzene, toluene, and other molecules. The second one is the inorganic, some of the inorganic molecules. We'll talk about aluminum, ammonia, and arsenic, and there is a lot. I just chose the first ones. We're talking about like nervous system danger, skin, eyes, respiratory tracts, increased blood pressure, infection in stomach and brain. Like there's a huge number of negative health effects. But I chose just these. Okay, other resources that we can have in place of shale gas: solar and wind power. They are also two popular renewable energy sources. Nuclear power, like if it is really that clean one, it will eventually power entire cities. And last one, like choices, my option, ethanol energy, which has positive energy balance, meaning that the process of producing ethanol fuel does not require more energy than the amount of energy contained in the fuel itself. As a conclusion, the extraction of shale gas is a big step and a big risk to take for the health and ecosystems. Today, we are the precipice of renewable energy revolution. This is a new economy, so it's time to leave fossil fuels in the ground where all wealth and new jobs are going to be created. Other resources must be found to finance the national fund and avoid being still depend 100% on hydrocarbons. Like, why invest in unprofitable projects in large-scale development of shale gas where a lot of money would be lost that could go into the development of renewable resources? I'm sorry for that one. So this is our references. We have 8. And thank you for watching. Good luck for the other team. Have fun. Don't be stressed.
Thank you, Hanan.
You're welcome.
And
Well,
thanks
I'm
to all.
gonna go first. I'm gonna first because I'm so excited.
I knew it. I knew it.
Oh, Hanan, I loved your presentation. You did a great job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
great
sir.
job. And for your information, اما بلش الغرب بدك نبلا فامي تاعي ولا ما بلقش هو
واي
عم المراه تاعي عمها ديريكت زعما المدام تاعي عمها هي نغمتهاش الغوم وهذاك عمها نهضر معاه بريس دو فوا بار سيمين دونك نعرفوا طري بيان داكور.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
أنا je vais suggérer une chose. I'm going to suggest something and I hope the guys from Hasim Saud section of SPE are listening. I would love that we redo this. كنزي please كنزي مرض فيها. تعرفي لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك هي اللي نورمالمون نبعثوها للناس اللي جروب تاعكم ونقولوا لهم حلل وناقش. فهمتي كيفاش؟ نورمالمون السؤال هذا هو السؤال. لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك كامله سي لا كيستيون كون ايساي دو ديباتر اودجوردي في لي بريزونطاسيون هادو. نورمالمون انا هذه جو فو كو tu me donnes une copie s'il te plaît.
Ah oui, bien sûr, monsieur. It's a pleasure.
Why, please send me a copy of it. I need it because I will do the project as if I was one of you guys. How would I answer to your presentation? Because these are the questions we try to get answers from you guys today. But you came up more with the questions than the answers. But I hope the rest of the teams, if they're listening, they haven't presented yet. If you bring us answers to Hanan's presentation, I will vote for you to be the winner myself. Okay, so I need a copy, please, because I want to send that part to Mr. Abdelkarim Shalhoum and tell him, look what people are saying, you're saying. That's one thing. And also, I loved it because it has what I've been searching for so many years. Because a lot of people tell me about the risks with shale gas and shale oil, but they have never given me the problem. But you did. You just gave me the problem. Now, I am not saying that what you say is true or real, but أنا راح نجتهد باش نريبوندي عليهم وحدة بوحدة. وأنا نعاود نرجعك لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك avec les réponses que tu cherches إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله.
يبقى درك نرجعوا لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك. S'il te plaît, can you start from scroll back up to slide number 1? Because I want to quickly. I don't want to take a lot of time, but you got me excited with this. I like it. So we're going to go slowly. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about number 5. Take me to go to number 5, please.
This one.
Yes. So shale gas risk is environmentally dangerous. So are you making statements here? Are you making statements or are you listing the perception, or is this your group opinion? Or this is what people are saying about it? I want to know this.
We just resume all the like a little bit or little ideas of each risk, not all of them. We just take like listen it some of the risks that exist.
Okay, you put so those are the references you are alluding to, right? When you have it between brackets. So if I go back to that link, I'll find where earthquakes have happened, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Just go back, and then you have the frac fluid composition. Can you go to that slide where you have the frac fluid composition? Keep going one by one. I'll tell you when I see it.
I think it's the first one.
Yes, that one. Go back to that. No, the other one.
Ah, okay. Other resources.
No, the one more up, please.
9 and 10.
Yeah, I'm looking for 9 and 10. Thank you.
9 and 10. Ah, okay. These two tables.
Yes. So where did you get this from? That this is organic content in fracturing wastewater?
Yes.
Are you saying this is what comes back? This is what flows back out of the well, right?
There was a lot. I've just chosen, I've just like take these ones.
Okay. So we frack a well and then we put it on production and the well will make benzene, toluene, I can't even read those. Ethyl benzene. Ethyl benzene, yes. Okay, I'm trying to say it in English. It makes hexahide. Where did you get this analysis from?
Okay, six.
Data.
So that quality control. Yes, there is a references number 6.
Good, because I want to see where
there
this
is a lot. That is a lot. That is huge numbers of like a lot of information of the risks and additives. It's really that good page in there.
Okay, good. This is it. You just put the whole subject on a presentation, which I really love it. That's it for me. Please send me the original of your presentation so I can comment on it myself, and I'll let the other guys say whatever they have to say too. Thank you. Sorry for taking so long.
No, it's okay.
Thank you, Hanan, for your presentation. Frankly, I feel that you collect information from, and your references, they have like a political based bias, and you didn't use that critical thinking. For example, can you give me an evidence about how can hydraulic fracturing contaminate the water table? Simple, just one question.
By the additive, let's say, not really the fracturing, but the additive they add on it, chemicals one, or it can happen from the rocks itself, like when we are breaking the rock, there is some I have no idea, like in general, my point of view, from additive and from rocks, it can be contaminated.
Yeah.
What do you mean from additive from rocks?
I didn't hear you, sorry.
What do you mean from rocks? Can you explain
rocks
more?
Like when we broke the rock, it has, like, logically it has some things goes from here and there, and it kind of go to the water inside, get to it.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Khalid. Thank you, Hanan. Appreciate it.
You are welcome, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Hanan. Thank you very much for the second side of opinion. Oh, sorry. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, sorry. So thank you very much for the second side of the opinion.
You're welcome.
So do you have a very quickly on your mind, earthquake was induced by frac? Very quickly.
Yeah.
If you don't worry.
Yes, I had, but I forget the country that it has. Like there was 2 opinions. It had like earthquake, but some people were saying from the fracturing, and others saying from the water, like it has been taken off from that area. That's why. So it was 2 sides. That I'm not sure that was 100% from fracturing.
So it's not clear cut.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No problem. Slide number 6, please.
Number 6.
This is a reference. I mean, the emission, those numbers are a little bit bizarre for me. Yeah, I don't know what the guys they think, but gas is gas. So, but you have a reference there. I would not.
Yes.
We can check it later on. Okay. There is the 9 and 10.
9
and 10. Two composition of fracking fluid is not that complex. I don't know if you mean just the fracking fluid or the produced water.
The water.
Okay.
The water is getting from the well of shale gas.
Yeah, so it's the formation water, that little bit of formation water will come back. Okay. I'm not sure if, because we are always, in practical, we compare A to B. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If we take Hassermal, for example, gas field producing, it's those pollutants, they do not exist in production in natural gas, because always we try to investigate the increment of the risk. The risk is always there, but is there an increment or not? Do this pollution, they do not exist in normal natural gas or not?
I think, in my opinion, they do exist, but question of percentage, like there is a lot in there and little in here.
So shale gas produce less water than a natural gas field, yeah? Just to let you know. Earthquake done, the emission is a little bit bizarre. I have a feeling that the presentation is around كيف نقولها بالعربية قالوا صراط. Okay? So the whole presentation is around don't go there. Let's say your father will tell you don't go to the dark room. When you ask why, you say, you know, just don't go there. I have that feeling that we are mentioning a lot of things that normal people will struggle to justify exist or not. And I have a feeling that just don't go there. I mean, you are making people afraid from the whole problem without clear explanation. I would rather, I'm not against you, but I would rather see at least one slide where you take one risk and you show example and you show clear evidence that exists. Of course, you cannot take all of them, but you take one. I asked about the earthquake and you mentioned clearly that people are not sure. Okay.
Yes.
So I really prefer if you add, because you had another minute, by the way, you finish early. So I really prefer if you add one slide where you show one risk and you prove that risk exists specifically for shale gas.
That's why I talked about critical thinking. I talked and they told her that her references are, they have like kind of political based bias, you know. Like kind of they have a bias, but it's okay. We're gonna judge it based on what you have presented, anyways.
But my opinion, please, not only this, yeah. Whenever, because you have a lot of reference, you see, Kamal is a specialist and expert, and he will need few days to cut and slice your presentation. So, but when we're talking about people, please try first, because what happened, let me be frank with you, okay? If you are talking in public, people, they need to trust you. And they need to trust you, there is two ways. They know you before, or you take one example and you show exactly that what happened here, there, all the details. And after that, you can give it. But your presentation has a lot of opinion without clear backing. Within the 10 minutes, I'm saying. But the presentation itself, you did good. And I really appreciate you did not panic when your team ran away. It's just technical problems.
Now I understand why the others didn't show up. Anyways, I love your presentation.
Kamal, I felt all the credits should be given to Hanan. So that's not fair because she did all the job by herself. And the guys
I didn't say that. The credit goes to her, absolutely. And
thank you.
Go back to that slide 9.
Slide 9.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, you know, I am guilty as charged. I fracked wells in France. Yeah, في فرنسا. يعني في فرنسا entre 2001 et 2005. انا هو اللي على جالي داروا ذاك الماراثون، انا اللي فراكيت ملي في فرنسا. I fracked in Australia, I fracked في اندونيسيا, I fracked في كندا، نون بارلون با والامريكان. عمري ما شفت هادو داخلين في الفراك. هاد لي برودوي نعطيك، انا نقول لك شنو لي برودوي دي نعرفهم طري بيان. نعرف ليتانول، نعرف الميتانول، ونعرف البيتيل جلايكول. الميتانول ما نستعملوش في الفراك يا الاخت حنان، ما نستعملوش الميتانول خلاص وما عنده حتى فايده. الميتانول نخدموا به حنا في الاويل اند غاز، نخدموا به سي لو رول تاعو كيما اون ايبونج في البايب لاين. نعطيك يعني كلكو انديكاسيون برك باش تشوفي بلي لافورماسيون اللي عندك راهي غلطه وما هيش ما عند لا محل لها من الاعراب. انا قلت لك انا سي موا كي فراكي لو برومي بي في فرنسا ماشي لو برومي، انا اللي بيت لا كومبان دو فراكتوراسيون في فرنسا. وبني الكبير زايد في فرنسا، يعني كنت عايش في فرنسا من 2001 2005 en tant que كنديان. ونقول لك الميثانول عمرنا بالعمر ما استعملنا الميثانول في الفراك، وعمرنا بالعمر ما استعملنا البيوتيل جلايكول في الفراك. الميثانول سي با ان كوروجين انهبيتور، نو لي كوروجين انهبيتور سي اون اوتر فورم اللي نقدر نعطيك الام اس دي اس تاعهم ونعطيك الكوروجين انهبيتور باش مخدومين. الميثانول نستعملوه في البايب لاين ونستعملوه بور ايفيتي ليدراتاسيون، باش الماء الميثانول يشرب الماء اللي كاين في الغاز والماء اللي كاين في البترول، شفتوا في الغاز نستعملوه مع الغاز باش ما يديرناش. لكن شفتي في الدار كي تحلوا قرعه تاع الغاز بزاف يدير فيها لا غلاس، هذوك يعيطوا لهم لي زيدرات. بور ايفيتي ليدراتاسيون نحطوا الميثانول في البايب لاين تاع لا برودكسيون باه ما يتبوشاش. مي عمرنا ما نبومبيو الميثانول في الشيل غاز ولا في التايت غاز باسكو سي ان برودوي دونجورو، سي دو l'alcool qui est très volatile qu'on peut pas contenir هكاك برك ونبعثوه هكاك برك. ديجا ميم الناس كي اكسبوزيو للميثانول يقدروا يدوخوا توت سويت. عمري ما انا لا سول فوا في حياتي اللي شفت الميثانول قدامي دون زين سيتيرن ولا دون ان كاميون، سيتي دون ان بروجي تاع البايب لاين كي كنت نخدم في كاناغاز، ودرنا السيشاج كون ابل لو سيشاج دو بايب لاين من سكيكدا الجيجل باش نحيولوا الماء من داخل. درنا له لي زيسيدوستاتيك وكي نحيولوا الماء نبومبيو له الميثانول باش الميثانول يشرب الماء. الميثانول يخدم كيما ليبونج يشرب الماء عنده هذا. البيتيل جلايكول نستعملوه ثاني بور ديزيدراتي لو غاز لا ميم شوز، وجامي نبومبيوه في الفراك. هادو سي دي فلويد كي سون تري انكومبريس. Sorry guys, my son is
حنان كما كان يقول كمال، انا ما حبيش ندخل في الديتاي مي انا for me when you speak publicly you have the right to set a lot of criteria, a lot of opinion, but if you don't have time, take at least one and explain it in details and show your evidence. Because if people, you give them like this without clear evidence and clear explanation, after you go, they will slice you and dice you the way they want. They will not even leave you alive. So I'm not talking about the shale gas. I'm talking in any presentation. If you have a lot of statement, take one and explain it and prove it that it's correct, which I did not see in this presentation. But thank you very, very much for. I really love the fact that you took the other side, and really love the fact that we saw one team from the other side, because it's not good also that all the presentation will be in one side, because you trigger a discussion, and that's really, really good.
Thank you.
حنان if ça vous dérange pas تشوفي هذيك ليكيب تاعكم وانا جو سوي بري ندير معاكم انتوما باسكو سي دي جون كيما انتوما اللي كونفيو لي ميساج هذا، دونك vous avez le droit de conveyer le message هذا باسكو vous êtes convaincu باللي هذا الشيء اللي راكم حاطينه هنا راه صحيح. حنايا ماذا بينا نديروا نوتر سيسيون معاكم وين نحكيو على ماذا بيا هذه لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك هذه نمشيو فيها بوين بار بوين ونفيريفيوها حاجه بحاجه وتشوفي بعينك باللي الشيء اللي جبتوه لا سورس هذه اللي عطاوها لكم هاد الحوايج، الناس اللي عطاوكم لا سورس هذه اللي عطاوكم الحوايج هذو ما يعرفوا انكليو هذاك لا فامي تاعي ما على بالهمش واش هو الفراك، ما علمش هو في الفيد دو فراك، عمرهم ما شافوا ان فراك، عمرهم ما شافوا ان بي تاع الشيل، عمرهم ما شافوا لونفيرونمون دون لوكيل سو في لو شيل غاز. وحنا نجيبوا لكم لي بروف، نعطيك لي كومبوزيسيون تاع الفراك ونعطيك اي برودوي شيميك نستعملوه في الفراك وعلاش نستعملوه، بوكوا يل اكزيست. اسيدي كاين فراكي غير بالماء وحده، واني غدوه نهار لين فراكي غير بالماء وحده، واي الماء والرمل هاد الحوايج تاعك بوكو سون با فالابل. و99% في 99% من اللي بي اللي نديروهم في الشيل في الامريك دي نور نفراكوهم غير بالماء وحده برك، ما نحطوا له حتى حاجه معاه. دونك جامري بيان سافوار منين جابوا هاد الحوايج. عندك باش الكزيلان باش تمشيها في الكاميون لازمك لي سكور تاع الجدارميه باش تهزي الكزيلان من بوين ا لبوين بي. نحتاجوا الكزيلان في الاويل اند غاز ونستعملوها في الدي واكسينغ ونستعملوها في الويل انترفنشن كما قريتكم. بصح الكزيلين نمشيوها بلي سكور تاع الجدارميه، ما نقدروش نمشيوها هكذاك برك في الطريق. وهكذاك لا ميم شوز اللي سميوها لا طوليان لا ميم شوز نمشيوها بالسكور تاع الجدرميه في الجزائر ولا في كندا tu peux pas transporter هذيك لا ماتير هكاك برك. ايماجيني افيك لو نومبر دو فراك كي سو في لارمي تاع الكندا كامل يضل يعيش غير في الكمين تاع الجزائريين والطونيين دون سي كالا. يعني انا نعطيك حوايج اللي الناس يحطوا وما على بالهمش علاش حطوا الحوايج هادو هنايا. يسا باسكو سي كوما واش هما الحوايج هادو باسكو سي با دي بتروليي يسا باسكو سي. مي جيمري بيان كون فاس اون سيسيون تاع ساعتين ولا ثلاثه ونديكورتيكيو لا بريزونطاسيون تاعك هادي اسيدي وكل ذي حق يدي حقه. هذا ما كان
ان شاء الله.
الله برومي باللي تبعتي لي هذه اون فرا اون سيسيون ابار ان شاء الله غير على السوجي هذا بالذات.
ان شاء الله ماشي
صح. طيب بيان.
Thank you Hanan, appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Très bien, c'est une très bonne. أنا je vais bien vous noter. مليح, c'est bien.
Thank you, Hanan. You made Mr. Kamal extremely excited about it.
You're welcome, sis.
Thank you. We will move on to the last team. So the final team for today, of course, is Rania Nouri, Yamina, and Saifuddin Daraji. Yeah. Good luck.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Yes, Daraji.
Okay, perfect. Wait a minute. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Wait a second. I'm gonna miss this one. Can I hide this one? Yes. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I am Dora Yusufdin, and today's presentation is based on standing against shale gas production. This presentation is presented by Ben Khadija Amina, Nouri Rania, and of course, Dora Yusufdin. Yes. A brief look on our plan that contain an introduction, then what's shale gas. After that, we will present our argument, and finally, we will conclude that with a small conclusion. As you know, and due to increasing imbalance between energy demand and supply and the need for global energy structure optimization, and conventional natural gas resources has received extensive attention, especially shale gas. Meanwhile, shale gas development in the world has brought with it a national debate that seemingly lack a consensus over its economic, environmental, health, and social implication. There is growing evidence that shale gas development has a lot of benefits in the short run, but also we can't close an eye on its risk. And the question is, shale gas a risk or an opportunity? So, what is shale gas? Shale gas refers to natural gas that is trapped within shale formation. One of the unconventional resources, shale gas are fine-grained sedimentary rocks that can be rich source of petroleum and natural gas. Shale gas is trapped within the pores of these sedimentary rocks. Gas is normally stored through three ways in gas shale. First of all, free gas, which is the gas within the rock pores and natural fractures. Absorbed gas is on organic material and clay, and dissolved gas that has been dissolved in the organic materials. Going through its production, using traditional process that combine the hydraulic fracking and horizontal drilling, where we use the water, sand, and some chemical. This combination known as the fracking fluid. This process includes high-profile activities that can have a negative and destructive effect on human health and the environment if the process go wrong. But why are we concerned about fracking? First of all, the fracking process uses a massive amount of fresh water, consuming about 19 million liters of water during each process. And this huge amount of water is enough to supply thousands of people a year. Also, hundreds of tons of toxics are being pumped out and under high pressure. The rocks break apart to send the gas up, and most of the mixture spills out and becomes more dangerous with time to destroy agriculture and water health. More than 80% of the toxic fluid that are injected remain underground, and any negligence fracking accident due to high pressure may cause breaking the casing, seeping and leaking directly into underground water resources, which has a devastating effect, bringing all toxic wastewater. Also, most water treatment plants are not equipped to handle toxic mixture, such as heavy metal or radioactivity. Speaking of heavy metal, the heavy metal contained in oil-based drilling cuts can be harmful to the ambient environment and drilling worker. We see in the table below the different content of cadmium, copper, mercury, nickel, lead, and zinc that present in the drilling cutting, where some of them cause a serious risk in non-carcinogenic risk, which are shown in the left chart, and other present carcinogenic risk, which are shown in the right chart, as you see. While the water pollution associated with shale gas development is primarily associated with accidents such as spill and leak, air pollution emission, as is the case with the oil and gas industrial operation, occur during both regular operation and when there is a malfunction facilities, as illustrated in this figure. Air pollution emission associated with shale gas development come from diesel exhaust, natural gas flaring, venting, compressor station, natural gas pipeline, storage tank, wastewater storage, and from pipes, valves, etc. Of course, known as fugitive emission. This emission can be broken into three categories. First categories, which is criteria pollutant, excuse me, which are common and found throughout the United States, such as the nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and particulate matter. Secondly, hazardous air pollutant or air toxic such as formaldehyde and volatile organic compound, for example, benzene, toluene, ethyl benzene, and xylene. And finally, the greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane. With what I mentioned before, there is some other risks, such as in the drilling operation itself, that might disrupt the balance of the forces in the rock formation, which cause the earthquake phenomenon. Also, poor equipment and the human errors increase the severity of situation and the water supply, and this may end up with extra costs regarding how hard this fracking, and especially since this technology of fracking can work in the same way from region to another region. Also, the quantity of gas extracted from the rock are weak compared to the rate of natural gas, which is economically not profitable somehow, in addition to different economic parameters. When we see around the globe, we see a lot of local communities are expressing their concern and doubt about fracking and shale gas. And because of that, shale gas is not a solution to a sustainable energy future. Instead, we urgently need to resort to renewable energies to achieve our environmental goals related to health and climate change, of course. When we see the environmental danger, we conclude that this gas shouldn't be extracted. Rather, we can serve the environment in 100% clean ways, such as wind energy, sun energy, thermal energy, and nuclear energy, etc. What we conclude from this, summarizing and simplifying, we see that the negative aspects are mainly of shale gas is an ecological and societal nature. The economic and political stakes are considerable. Ecological and environmental concerns are justified. Feist funding mission are underway. Debate are started before, of course, and will certainly continue to take place in the future. So I won't say we have to ban this act, but at least we have to make it less in order to keep a long-term vision and defend the general interest and move on and move to more clean energy. That was our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Safety, and thanks to your team also. Now it's time for the judges to ask you some questions about your presentation.
So thank you very much, Sifdi. One of the comments I have with the presentation is that a lot of the argument you try to present are focused and based on if something went wrong. Okay, is that what if everything went correct? Do you still hold your argument or not?
Well, sir, my presentation based on concerns. So we are not sure that everything is go 100% well, but I am presenting the concern that we will face it, or we faced it before. That's it.
So if something went wrong, which is a
Can I
valid
answer?
concern.
Can I answer on that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, risks are in both ways. Either it's done in a proper way, like there are no concerns, or there are risks in both ways. For example, water. Water is going to be polluted in both ways. For example, we use a lot of chemical products in hydraulic fracturing, like chemical mixing and injection, and also there's the the wastewater treatment and the recycling and disposal. We can't really save the water from being polluted. Also, the same thing for the air. The air is going to be polluted in both ways. Other than that, we can talk about health. Health is going to be in risk in any other way, such as infants, like in Pennsylvania, they had many research on infant death. Shale gas has affected a lot of infants. Also, cancer. It can cause cancer. It can cause how can I say the weather, a lot of things. So that's my answer. Thank you.
So I will move to another point, which is for the water users, just to let you know, so shale gas or normal conventional, when we have the water recycling is a problem. Yeah, usually service company, they will not use recycled water in their equipment, regardless shale gas or conventional. But everywhere in the oil industry, we recycle the water back to the formation, not the potable water, but we inject it to another aquifer for storage. Yeah. So just to let you know, the water is a risk. Produced water is a risk that exists in both. And the solution, the easiest solution is re-injecting it to a non-usable aquifer. So just to let you know that one. For, you mentioned a lot of heavy metal. I mean, if we compare to normal gas production, like natural gas production, it's the same composition, the same production in liquid that come out of the ground is the same. So if there is a risk with shale gas in terms of this heavy metal, it exists also with natural gas. Now, the point is, are you against the entire oil industry, try to reduce the impact of the entire oil industry, or only the shale gas? That's my question.
So, sir, in my point of view, of course, I'm not against the whole idea. I'm not against it, but I focused more from some researches that I found, especially in the case of Algeria.
Yes.
We are not ready to use this fracking in our country. I said before, this technology is different from region to region. I made a mistake. I meant this technique is different from region to region. So we are not sure that we can apply it for the moment. So, but the idea of producing natural gas stay on the table. And of course, as we know, the Algeria has the reserve. Of course, it is the third. It has the third reserve of shale gas, and these gases and these resources can keep us for the 3 decades at least. My point, at least for the moment, we can't use this fracking process for because of this impact on the environment. And for my
Yes, we lost you, Saifuddin.
I'm sorry, my bad, my mistake. I mean, I meant in the fracking we pump fluids in high pressure. This high pressure may as I said before, might break this the casing and this fluid may escape due to high pressure that we pumped it from the surface. So this fluid may seep into the underground water. That was my point.
Yeah. So if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, of course.
Your concern is that we need to be confident enough to not make mistakes, and we should not take the success in US as granted if we want to apply it in Algeria, but we should put a process in place to make sure we do it correctly, and if there is a problem, we mitigate it. So your concern is that these processes that make sure that everything is correct, it's not there in Algeria.
Yes, exactly. This is it.
Thank you very much. I'm done, Kamal Ibrahim.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you. You speak very clear English. I love it. Right? I don't know where you learned your English, but it's very good. I like it.
Thank
and
you,
you articulate your ideas very well. You and the other lady that spoke, Yamina, I think her name.
Yes, Khadija Yamina, exactly.
Yeah, I'm proud of you guys being in Algeria, and you could, living in Algeria, and you could speak such a clear English. I really, I like it. That's the bottom line.
Thanks,
now,
sir.
let's go back to your presentation. I feel like Khalid has already mentioned, I feel like your concerns are directed more towards the fossil fuels in general and in the petrochemical industry in general, because the fugitive emissions, the air pollution, these are concerns that are specific. Yeah, I mean, we know about it, but they are applicable to all oil and gas refineries, and you're talking about the downstream side of the oil and gas industry and the challenges they face when it comes to pollution and gas emissions. Now, you mentioned carbon monoxide, you mentioned NOx, nitrogen oxides, you talked about, I took note of it, another one, benzene, and these are fossil fuel issues in general, right? So you are not pro, here we're talking about shale gas extraction, but you are talking more about fossil fuels in general, right? Okay, now we know where you stand on that. I hope you're not a petroleum engineer, because that would be an oxymoron, but you're entitled to your opinion, right? That's okay. Now, in your conclusion, you say, we see, Baba, just a minute. You say in your conclusion, if you go to your conclusion slide,
yeah,
you say for those reasons, you say we see, but you haven't showed us anything. When you talked about pollution, you showed us cartoons. You know what cartoons means? Drawings.
Yeah, animation. Yes,
Yes, you made drawings. And then when you talked about earthquakes linked to drilling and fracks, you also showed us a hand drawing. but you didn't show us a picture of an area around the world, be that in Canada, US, Europe, Africa, Algeria, wherever that place is, where the earthquake have taken place linked to the shale gas extraction. I would love to see that. Also, you didn't show us data from the US or Canada where you show us like in the center where, you know, there are maps where you can see where the activity like Permian Basin in Texas, like shale gas in New York, Pennsylvania. I would like to see gas emissions there linked to that type of activities where you can see, look, the satellites are picking up pictures of gas emissions specific to those areas where gas emissions are happening because a lot of shale and a lot of tight gas exploration is happening. If you show me those pictures, then you will earn the right to say, you see, we see at the end. But when you show cartoons, it's just a hearsay. A cartoon is a cartoon. You also mentioned, so you didn't show us. The other thing, I heard it in every single presentation. You guys talked about chemicals in the frac fluid. I think I presented fracs to you guys, and I didn't show you a list of chemicals in the frac fluid. I said water, I said salt water, I said brines, I said some nitrogen. I never gave you a list of chemicals that I know of that being pumped in the frac. So I don't know. So which one you want to believe? I try to teach you a little bit about fracking, and I'm more than happy to do a long course on fracturing for you guys. We start from scratch, from the time we pick a log until we finish the frac and we flow back the well. And I'm more than happy to show you every single chemical we use. And I would love to see where those composition you put in there. You talked about zinc and chrom and other things, where they come from and which component causes that. You talk about fracking and the risk of breaking the casing. And then when we frack under high pressure, the casing is going to break and the fluids will leak into water. Well, let me tell you, let me give you some of the good news. Like they say, Jehovah Witnesses, right? Have you heard? Every time you please help me. I will. Every time you take an airplane, the airplane might fall down and you die. Does that mean you never put your ass on an airplane before? Like you never took a seat on an airplane? Have you ever flown in an airplane before? Have you taken a ship, a boat, to go at the sea? The boats sink, ships sink, airplanes fall from the sky, cars get in accidents. Motorcycles are the highest death rate in Algeria right now. Have you ever been on a motorcycle? I bet you own one at your age. Probably you're dreaming of owning a motorcycle. So when you talk about the casing breaking, that means you don't trust the engineering behind that casing. Then if you don't believe the engineering behind the casing, you would not believe the engineering behind the airplane, and you would not believe the engineering behind a car, and you're not going to believe the engineering behind the ship or anything in that matter of fact you use in your own house. Because I bet you, I don't know where you're from in Algeria, but I bet you anything in your house, you have natural gas coming to your house and you have electricity coming to your house. And guess what? Those two can kill you at any time if they are not properly handled. So if you don't believe in engineering solutions, then we do nothing. That's the idea for you, is not to get hurt, then we do nothing, because something can go wrong. Well, things can go wrong at any given time. The good engineer makes sure that nothing goes wrong. So you haven't shown us anything. I respect your opinion. Very good, very nicely presented, very well presented. I would have loved to see more facts than hand drawings to show those risks, which means real life pictures. I want you to show me pictures from the US, from Canada, from anywhere where they have done shale gas that really show those risks you're talking about. One last thing I'm going to say, coronavirus. You know what COVID-19 is? Mr. Daraji.
Yes, sir,
you know
of
what?
course. Yes.
You have lost people probably in your family linked to COVID-19, right?
Well, no.
Maybe not. I did. I know a lot of people that died from COVID-19. My point is, when something around the world shows up and there is a risk on people, we see the impact immediately and we know. Sorry, guys.
Probably I should go ahead and is that okay?
Sir,
Yes.
well, I was about to say some comments or some question. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, let Kemal go back, then we can go through your comments. Then
All right.
we'll
Yes.
go for a couple of questions. And I thank you for the presentation. The presentation is excellent. The deliverability is very good. I like it, to be frank with you. Yeah, thanks to Khalid and Kemal who for reading my mind, because you asked the 50% of the questions I was going to ask. However, I'm gonna go with just one question. Probably the guys that just missed. Can you prove to me that extracting shale gas or developing shale gas reservoir, it's not economically viable, or based on what you guys said that?
Sir, of course, it's well, extraction of shale gas is economically profitable, but
you said profit viable
yes,
or no?
I said no. I said no, sir.
Based
I
on
said
what?
basically, exactly. Based it on lack of technology. I said well, I present. I'm sorry. I give my argument based on Algeria's situation. So for extraction, first of all, I am with it. I was in with the idea, but we will, when we see the Algeria situation and when we see our development in this business, I say we can do it for right now. So when I said is not profitable, I speak of the term in Algeria. Else it's profitable.
Well, I mean, no, based on what? Do you have the data? Do you have the data on you so that you conclude? Because I feel that I wish that you could have supported your argument with more evidence, but because when you say it's not economically viable, is that based on the data which was in front of you, and you analyzed this data and you came up with this conclusion. So I don't know why, based on what you said, it's not economically viable. I wanted to give me like some numbers at least. Did you get my point?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. To be honest with you, I was with this team the last 2 days, and we made it so quickly. So we didn't have the right time. We didn't have much time to put everything we know. So it's not an excuse, but yeah, why not?
No. You see, the best answer, Yasir Daraji, the best answer is the answer that comes first to mind. And I see that you manage no effort. You manage that's good, because this is your default answer, and that's very good. However, it's good to have a default answer, but it's also nice to go back and back it up with some facts, right? So, like when you talk about people getting cancer and causing, this is our concern. So let's go to the data and look at the places where shale gas, or you are against fossil fuel in general. So according to you, probably people from oil producing countries, they have a higher cancer rate than people from countries that don't produce zero oil, like Japan, right? Japan produces zero oil. Maybe those guys have less cancer rates in their population than, let's say, Saudi Arabia, the biggest producer of oil in the world. So most of the Saudi people should die from cancer because they produce so much oil. Here, if I talk about fossil fuels in general. Now, if we want to talk about shale gas, now Canadians and Americans should have a higher cancer rate Excuse me a second, I can't do anything. حاسين أني مع So by logic, we've been producing shale gas in Canada and the US for the last 15 years. So the number of people dying from cancer should be out there. That's what I wanted to tell you about COVID. When the COVID-19 came, they couldn't hide it. China tried at the beginning to hide it, but they couldn't. It quickly get out of control. People start dying, and the virus spread all around the world. And now tell me, are the people that are being exposed to COVID-19, do they use oil and gas? Every person on this planet almost uses oil and gas. And almost every person on the planet today is exposed to COVID-19. Now, how come we've been producing oil and gas for 120 years? How come we didn't kill as many people as COVID-19 did in 2 years of time? Because it's a true pandemic. It's a true virus. It's a true risk. Nobody can hide it. Nobody can deny it. And nobody today can say, there's no... Come we've been producing... Huh?
Yes, sir. Sir, for the metals that I have mentioned before, it's in oil-based drilling cuts. So I wasn't talking about...
You know what we do? You know what we do with drilling cuttings? You know how big the drilling cuttings are? You know, have you been on a rig?
No.
It's a truckload. The cuttings رانا نهضروا على كاميو تاع قرافي شتي كاميو تاع القرافي الكاميو هذاك السمي رومارك اللي يجيب لك القرافي هذيك هي الكونتيتي تاع الكاتينغز اللي نديوها وعندها بلاصتها وين تروح ما نهزوهاش ونرميوها في الهواء ولا نرميوها في الارض نو سي با كوم سا كو سباس الدريلينغ كاتينغز كي يرجعوا مع لابو اني فهمتكم في الفوراج كي الفوريو لابو تجيب الكاتينغز لا سيرفاس يعدوه في الشيكر ويعدوه في السنتريفيج يا دي زوندروا دو ريكوبيراسيون نريكوبيرو الكاتينغز هذوك ونديوهم لي سونتر دونفويمون نديوهم لي سونتر دو تريتمون ماشي نفرقدوهم في الارض ولا نفرقدوهم في البحر ولا نفرقدوهم في سي با كوم سا كو سباس الا كاينه شركه في العالم تاع البترول اللي راهي دير في الشيء هذا سي دي جون كريمينال هادو ماهمش عباد سا سفي با وين تعلموا يفوريو ما يديروها لا في الجزائر لا في فرنسا لا في امريكا لا في كندا لا في لاشين واحد ما يديرها I don't know. If you know a country where cuttings are being thrown in nature to cause this kind of damage, well, you should tell us about them because we're just going to write to every single organization we know and we're going to tell them, go check on these people. فاهمني؟
Yes, sir, of course.
دوك كيكون دوك لا كان الشيء الغاز هذا راه يقتل الناس وراه كونتاميني كيفاش يزون ريسي ا لو كاشي بوندون 15 ans والكندا والامريكان مخبيين عليه هذا الشيء هذا ماتوا الناس وما هضروش الكوفيد ما قدروش يخبيوه يعني ما كتشوف الامريكان كي جا الكوفيد تفتحوا دي مليون قاعدين يموتوا ما قدروش يقولوا ما عندناش الكوفيد ولا يا ريان كي سباشينو ميم الشناوه كي سون لي شامبيون تاع يغموا الحيه ما قدروش يغموا الكوفيد كيف حبيت الناس تغم لي زيفي تاع الغاز دو شيل ولا الغاز دو شيل بور كان انتيري يغموهم بور لي ميلتي ناسيونال بتروليير امبوسيبل يكرهوهم كيما تكرهوا لا بيس واش علاش ما يخبيو لافير هذه
Yes, sir. I agree 100% with you. Actually, I'm presenting my concern, and for the problems I mentioned before, I am presenting concern that may affect negatively on our environmental in Algeria. I didn't say that we have to ban it. We have to ban it once for all. I didn't say that. So I am with the idea. Actually, I did some research. I found out that it can be controlled. Well, at least in proper level. But once again, I am presenting just concern. I'm not an expert. I am here to get from the expert. That's it, sir.
Non. Le but هذا يا سي راجي le but على présentation. انت tu présentes ton cas. You said we're gonna argue at the beginning. You said we're gonna argue our case. Now you want that? We are arguing the case for you. It seems like. فهمتني? So, anyways, the idea for us is to hear your opinion and your argument, not our argument. But we feel like when you guys talk, you have a different, you are the third one today that shows something on the slides, but when we ask them, he gives us another opinion. Are you trying to please us? You think because we are pro shales, you're trying to please us verbally, but put the real thought on the slides and then tell us a different thoughts, so we are in good. No, I want to hear your belief. I wanted to hear your result of your research, you and the other two girls that are with you. What do you believe? What do you think? And for me, I take it is what you put on the slides, right?
Well, yeah.
Good. Then stick to your stuff. Don't change it.
Your ground.
Hold your ground. Don't
Hold the heart.
ما تخليش الفراك يزلزلك. داكور.
Okay. I'll take it.
تاني يا جماعة كاين another, we have another question is, do we have a need for shale gas? Okay, as Algeria, let's say we take the country as Algeria. Do we have a need for shale gas? Okay, just forget about the word and the energy supply, blah, blah. We in Algeria, let's say a question, do we have a need? Economically alone, forget about anything else. Economically alone, we should start it last year. I mean, our Hasser Mal is production is declining very fast, and we are not even able to supply our contract to Europe. Hassim Saud production is very low. Burkina water cut is going crazy. We are producing more water than oil now. So economically alone, we are desperate for money, and shale gas, it's there with the possible risk. Let's say, take your opinion. Shale gas is there to solve big part of the problem with a possible risk. I think it's wise to go and try to even in your opinion, to take that risk and lower it to the minimum and move. And I always say that, can we live without shale gas in Algeria for the next 20 years? I don't think so. I mean, like I show one of the slide, can we live without oil and gas? تكساس ضربهم الثلج في فيفري، تكب لهم غازوديك واحد بايب لاين تاع غاز، تكساس كامله خلات، ما كان لا سخانه لا الديار البرد الكوفرتات لبرا، الناس قريب تموت بالشهر. Do we have a need in Algeria? Economically alone, we need the shale gas. How we do it? Let's do it the best way, but not be afraid. No. That's my opinion. Yeah, so your opinion is really respectful. I respect your opinion. شكرا وبارك الله فيكم يا شباب. I will add one sentence, like Kemal said. My interaction with you guys is in this event for the last month, and I really amazed me. I know a few of you guys, they never been out of Algeria, but your English is really amazing. I mean, all the teams, compared to the expectation, is you exceed all my expectation in English and your research and everything. Thank you very much for all the efforts you are doing, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
I want to give just quickly some feedback for tomorrow. This was the last team, right?
Yeah, that was the last team. I was about to ask you if you have anything that you want to share with us. So yes, this is it.
Just to give you a guideline tomorrow for the next 5, send them an email or no, tell them, tell them that they don't need to remind us about the basics of shale gas or fracturing and all that stuff. We know that, and I would rather get straight to the subject. That's why I loved about that presentation from what's her name? I loved about her because she went straight to the subject and she put her case right out, regardless of her opinions or what she believes. I love that. That's what I'm looking for. So tomorrow, because you guys have 10 minutes, limit your number. Think like this: 1 to 2 minutes per slide, which means the slide number should be no more than 5, 6, maximum 7 slides. So you have enough time to talk to those slides. That's number 1. Number 2, forget the basics or the definition of shale gas and how it is. We are not looking for that. Go straight to your, okay, this is our facts. These are the facts we gathered. This is the speculation we have. You can define it. You can say, this one is the speculation we have, which means we have information, but we don't know if it's true or if it's true or wrong. This is the speculation. These are the facts we have. This is our opinion, and this is our recommendation or conclusion. You call it what you want. And that's what we are here to listen for you guys. I'm not here to learn about shale gas and people making mistake between porosity and permeability. You just digging yourself holes, and then you make me feel like I need to go back and teach you again some stuff because I feel that they did not get understood. Okay, your students know this is all about knowledge, and if the knowledge is wrong, the whole thing is wrong. We need to go back and correct that. Please send them a note. Keep the slides between 5 and 7, no more, and go straight to your argument about, you know, what are the facts of shale gas? What are the speculations of shale gas? And where do you stand? And what's your recommendation? This is my personal opinion. This is how I would have done it if I had to do this.
Okay, Mr. Kamal. We'll inform them.
Yes.
And don't read from the slide, huh? Yeah, please.
That comes with practice.
Yeah, Mr. Ibrahim, do you have anything that you want to share with us?
Well, I think each and every one of you guys for the high motivation. Frankly, I know some engineers who are currently working in oil and gas industry, and they don't even tell a sentence in English, and they don't even they cannot even write a paragraph in French. So you guys are highly motivated, are doing a very good job. It looks like you have a very good vision for your future. Just keep it up, So keep up good work, and that's it. It doesn't matter who will win this competition. It's the most important. That is the most important is what you have learned during the OISPEC event. This is the most important, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. And thank you so much again.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. This is the end for the first day. I would love to thank our dear judges, Mr. Kamal, Mr. Ibrahim, and Mr. Khalid, for everything you've done today and in the previous sessions as well. Also, we would love to thank all the teams for their work and their presentations. I just want to remind you that the top 3 winners will be announced in the closing ceremony, so stay tuned. Good luck for the rest of the teams. See you tomorrow, inshallah, in the second day of the competition. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good night.